Hello, Lilith in Scorpio and Lilith in 8th house. My friends, my sexy, seductive friends. Lilith in Scorpio. So, welcome. I'm working my way through the Lilith series and I'm hitting each zodiac and each house placement. I will say also, so I have links below in terms of where you can find the first thing you can do is go, I'll give you the link to find out what your Lilith sits in. If you're kind of new to this, oh, I'm a Scorpio, is this me? Maybe not. If Lilith isn't sitting in Scorpio, like these are really specific. Although I found something interesting in all of these Lilith readings, as have other people. So you're still encouraged to sit around and watch. But I'll give you a link to find out what sign, zodiac sign Lilith sits in. And then it is also important to see, and particularly for this sign, actually, I found it stated twice in my research because I do a little bit of research and I'm going to kind of read to you some of the things that I've picked up. I'm just reading for it and then we're going to pull cards. This sign is important to connect it with the house that it sits in. That was stated twice. So to do that, you have to get your actual astrological chart. And I will have a link for that as well if you've not done that. And you will see which house Lilith is sitting in. So she could be in, well, probably in your Scorpio if you're here, but she could be in your 6th house, your 9th house, 12th house, wherever that is. And you'll be able to see that. So whatever house Scorpio is sitting in is what Lilith will be sitting in. So yeah, and so, Lilith and Scorpio is all about sex and death. And so I thought it was very appropriate to have purple on my skull. It's not a real skull. It's a cast from an actual human skull, though, that I got quite a few years ago when I was teaching portrait to young adults and adults for drawing, because it's very important to understand what's underneath everything before you. So I'm talking like this because this is the energy of Lilith and Scorpio. It's very seductive. Lilith actually exalts in Scorpio. So here she is in all her power in this placement. So if you got it, baby, you got it. You got it. We're going to use, so this is a thing. She reminds me a little bit of the Oakman, which is really funny. If you've been on my channel for a while, you know that I was doing Oakman readings. So Lilith sits in my pile, my card holder, and she sits in here in my fairy deck, face up, waiting for when we're ready to go. And I pulled the deck out the other day, and what was on the other side was the Oakman. I said, oh my God, that's so crazy. That is really funny that it turned out that way. So they always liked my new stuff. Actually, fairies tend to use your new decks. So I was using, up to today, I was using a combination of deck. I was using Heaven and Earth Tarot and the Murder of Crows. But she really likes my new Tarot of the Abyss. So I'm going to use that for this reading with her. Yeah, so the other thing before we get into the stuff that I'm going to read about with Lilith is everything is on a gradient. It really is. And one of the things that I'm learning with Lilith in these readings is a lot of this placement has to do with like even childhood trauma often, or childhood conditioning, and how you're kind of negotiating that and dealing with it as an adult as you grow up and, you know, have a more conscious awareness of your actions and your choices. So it's on a gradient. See where you sit in this? I really love seeing the comments from people that totally acknowledge like things that they've been dealing with and how they've been working on themselves. I think it's so brave to just stand up and say, I've had these issues, I've worked on it, this has been so hard, I'm still working on it, and thank you for the reading because it really helps me. I love seeing that. I just think it's so brave when people come out and say that. I also love the comments too where people say, this doesn't resonate, it's not me, I'm perfect. I'm not perfect, so I like the ones where people come in and say, I'm not perfect, it's hard, and I'm working on it. I'm like, good for you. I wish I could give you a hug. You'd probably take it too if you were Lilith and Scorpio. We're very touchy. Oh, I just gave myself away, so my Lilith is in Scorpio. Okay, Lilith in Scorpio has a strong energy or magnetism that draws others towards you. This smoldering energy is easily recognized by others. Oh yeah, okay, this is where I got the little star here. It says, this is the first astrological placement that came out and said it. Look into the house that Lilith sits in to see what you will feel less than satisfied about in life or as a challenge. So that's again why I said it's interesting to go and watch, you know, what house and what zodiac she's in for yourself. Yeah, so that's really interesting. So that could apply in so many different ways and how this shows up. But regardless, you're smoldering and sexy, you guys. Lilith exalts in Scorpio. She is at her strongest power here. So that can also be like, because of that, it could be a self-destructive sign as well. You could be maybe this is why I've never really understood. I relate so well to Scorpios. I love Scorpios. I've had so many like sons in Scorpios, really great friends. I just find them so deep and mysterious and wonderful. And I just like this camaraderie. And I used to always think the connection was because I'm an Aries and I also share the planetary energy of Mars with Scorpios. But I don't know, maybe because my placement with Lilith is in Scorpio, like I sense it. But you see, Scorpio can be, I've also known some very toxic Scorpios, and that is bad, scary shit. And it can come out in so many different ways. It can come out as just like the most incredible, manipulative. And I want to say, well, the ones that I've met that were not very healthy were very vengeful. That can come up here too. That can come up, like a lot of the things really that can happen in Scorpio as a sun sign can exist here. Positive and negative. Passive aggressive, I would say. Really covert manipulation. Hard to deal with this sign when it's not healthy. This placement can be obsessive and jealous over loved ones. So I find that interesting because it didn't just say like romantic partners, loved ones. And it's really kind of, so I try to look at myself too, and I think, you know what, I can be a little obsessive over my own son. Like, is he going to be okay? Are you okay? Do you need something to eat? All right. Like, Mom, I'm fine. I'm going to be fine. I'm fine. Like, okay. So, like, I don't know, maybe even as a parent, although you recognize it, like we try to recognize, right, things in ourselves that I was talking about as we get older and try to be more consciously aware of all the things and energies that we're dealing with, and check myself. It's okay, because he's going to camp next week and I've never been there. But lots of friends have, and it's really good. And the bus is coming to the house to pick him up and take him away at 8:05. And then the bus is bringing him back home at 4:50. I think he's going to be okay on the bus, right? I've never been on that bus. Anyway, so, I mean, that's just, as you can see, obsessive, a little bit obsessive over your loved ones. They're okay. Like, yeah, I am. I want to make sure they're okay. But the jealousy, I don't know about that one. I want to say, I don't know, maybe I'm being kind of ego-based. But I don't know. I think with Lilith and Scorpio, I don't think you've really had to be jealous for too many things. But maybe if you have, so then that could be too. Because that's often, if you've never had, like, if most of the time partners are coming towards you, or you've never had to share anything that you do, or something's not working out in your own way, then you may, because if it's not something that you automatically are used to dealing with, that can be difficult. It can be difficult to deal with that. The karmic duty in this sign is to learn to trust and the value of trust. I kind of see how that's played out too in different ways in my life. Now, I'm really curious with this sign. One of the things myself, I think I was like this in Virgo because she sits in my 6th house. So I was sort of open with things that, you know, I have had to deal with in life and what I'm trying to negotiate and understand. But I have found too, myself, like married men all the time. And I think on some level you start to, because when you see that enough, you start to think they're all like that, aren't they? They're all like that. So, but that's not true. But because of what you witness, the majority of the time, it might be that. Like you might start to develop that concept. So, and there might be things like, because you draw a lot of stuff in, like you draw a lot of friendships in, ones that are, you know, and I don't, would be interesting when we get into the 8th house part. It's got some really quite different things that I didn't find specifically in the Scorpio placement, but I can kind of see how this, this trust and the value of trust can play out with how this affects the 8th house too. And we'll get there. So stick with me if you want. This is an incredibly seductive placement. Hunting down her lovers like prey. Sex with this placement can be hauntingly erotic. Lilith in Scorpio can have her lovers eating out of the palm of her hand. They may plan vengeance or simply feel disgust for those that have hurt them. So yeah, like, you know, what is that statement? Hell have no fury like what is that? A scorned woman or no? Hell has no fury. Something about like, yeah, you open up that gate like. But that's with Scorpio too. Like, because Scorpio loves so deeply, so passionately, so erotically. When they are betrayed, it's like it pulls from their guts, their intestines, like it just, so that's part of the truth, right? Like, because maybe betrayal can feel so gut-wrenching. So if this sign is unhealthy, or if you have other placements that are conducive to vengeance, or you may just simply feel disgust for those that have hurt you. The sign can become over provocative or utilize exhibitionist behavior as power, not necessarily to get attention, because this sign doesn't need to work to get attention. It just happens. It will happen, which comes out with the 8th house, which is interesting, kind of how this can react with that. This sign is very much into touch and communication with touch. See, now that's not just erotic though, because I love touching people when I talk. And I know it's not always appropriate, but I can't help myself. I don't know why, but I guess I do now. I just want to touch. I used to drive my mom crazy in an antique store when I was a kid. Oh, I want to touch it. I got to touch it. And people too. It's like, hi, how are you? But you're not trying to be that way. At least I'm not. I feel like I'm talking to my clan in here. Yeah, touch. And you may, okay, so this sign does well with partners and friends who also enjoy touch or being touched. And you know what I'm saying. I'm not just saying like that. Because pretty much all guys like to be touched in one spot. So that's not like difficult to find. But just like the touchy-feely, like I can think of a couple partners that I've had. One that I had in particular, he didn't like hugs. I loved giving hugs. I love just being in a hug. You know, you could be cooking dinner and just like, I just want to hug. I just want to sit in a hug for a minute. I just want to feel, you know, like that energy. No, I'm like, oh, that's enough. You know, some people just don't like that. So it's good to find people that like that. Or holding hands. Like, these are all different ways too. Like, I just want to hold my son's head and give him a kiss on top. But mom. So I have a dog now. So maybe it wasn't talked about in this sign, but I thought about that. I thought, oh, maybe like a dog would be a good outlet for all the touchy. She loves to touch. I could touch her all day. I don't touch her enough, actually. Rub my belly, rub my ears, give me a kiss, all that stuff. So dogs, I think dogs would be good for this sign if you're not getting enough touch. People won't let you touch them enough. The sign has the power to steal partners and will when it is out of balance, or it could. Oh God. I don't think it's hard for that to happen. I've had some married guys and it's like, I don't want you. Why are you leave me alone? Like, go to your wife. I don't want you. But I guess if you did want them, you probably could take them. Oh God, when I was okay, look this up because this is you. There's a song by Dolly Parton which is so funny. It popped right into my head. Hadn't heard it in a while. I do love it. It's an interesting song. And this came up with this statement. This sign has the power to steal partners and will if it's out of balance, or simply because it can. That song by Dolly Parton, Jolene. Oh, that's kind of like the energy of this placement. Jolene, 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 Jolene. Please don't take my man just because you can, or something like that, right? Yeah. Can be involved in very passionate and fatal loves. Sex and death can get blended in with this sign if there's an unhealthy placement or karmic situation. Two people, and one in particular, oh, so sad, because what a beautiful voice she had. What a powerful woman. Oh, just, God, her voice was so amazing. Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston had this placement. She had Lilith and Scorpio. And we all know her history with Bobby Brown. Oh, God. Those two were so on again, off again, so toxic, and the drugs and the sex and the death. And so sad. Like, this is the bad, bad road it can go down. And also Carmen Electra also has this placement. They're not, you know, again, like those are two energies that don't need to look for attention. It just finds them. Okay, so there's that. Yeah. This is just a very seductive, touchy sign. So too, right? Like, I want to say, like, this is how your childhood can affect how this comes out in you. Like, I don't know, like if you had a parent that was always like cheating on the other parent, or you had like any of that, like you may just sort of grow up thinking this is my empowerment. I could take any person I want. So that's not really healthy too, because it's also like understanding the consequences of that seduction. So Lilith in the 8th house. So this is the 8th house, and this is quite different. But after I went through Lilith and Scorpio, I could see how they sort of react with each other. Not needing to look for attention, it'll find you all on its own. So again, while the 8th house enjoys being seductive, now this is interesting, and using the power of this, may have issues with intimacy though. So there may have been something that, a lot of times the house placements seem to be more about the childhood trauma and how that's utilized here. So there could have been something that happened in your childhood in the 8th house that caused intimacy issues, or you saw someone just empowering themselves through seduction. This house placement is very familiar with the dark side of life and can actually draw in dark people. Someone else had that. I don't remember who that was. This one in particular. Oh no, that one kind of could, I don't remember which house it was, but they could intentionally seek out darkness. Oh, because they weren't looking at their own darkness. Where this isn't that. This is just like a fascination with the darkness, the 8th house. Although here I am sitting with my skull. This is a profound wound associated with this house placement. Either pain or trauma created early in life or carried over from a past life. So, but what happens is, it may make you always feel like you were running away from fear, or you were running from fear. So if you've ever felt like there's always some sort of underlying fear about certain situations, it might be something, because Scorpio is incredibly psychic and incredibly in depth and in touch with the deepest parts of your human and spiritual experience. So you may have some sort of a trauma or a pain, even from a past life, something that you may not even know. You don't even understand it, but it makes you feel like you're running away from something. There's something fear. You're afraid of something there. You might not even know what it is. So I thought that was really fascinating. Now, here we go. This is where it gets interesting. And see how I can see that, how the Lilith and Scorpio energy. So even if you have the 8th house, you probably still have some sort of seductive qualities here. So there's an uncommon need for privacy in this house placement. Very strong loner tendencies. Privacy can become a fetish even, an extremely or an intense inner life. Now, this may also play out by working odd hours or doing shift work so you don't have to spend too much time with your family. You may choose to work or move out of state or province to keep your family, your friends. like an airplane trip away or a 2-day car ride away. But see, now what's interesting though is because Scorpio is very deep and very feeling and very emotional. So this house placement though is incredibly, and it was actually, I think it was, I could quote it as stating, having like more feelings for family and friends than family and friends would even experience for feelings. Like, just because there's a need for privacy and loner tendencies, and even maybe wanting to have space between friends and family, it doesn't mean at all that the sign doesn't care. The sign cares incredibly deeply. Yeah, even if, you know, but yeah, even though you seek the solitude, you just still care so deeply. Yeah. So that's what I got. What I got for those two placements. So we're going to go into this deck. There is an extended at the end of this as well. If you're resonating with this reading, you may or may not, and you're drawn to it, you can check out the extended. The link to that will be at the top of the description within this video. Yeah, and then it's just open. Like, these are just open. It's whatever Lilith wants to talk about with y'all. So I'm going to, okay, I'm kind of feeling it. I'm going to pull out one card and see what we're going to talk about here. She really likes the archetype deck, so we're going to go to the archetype deck. I don't like it with her, though. It's hard. I find it is hard. I'm not going to lie. I don't find it... It's not that I don't find her easy. I don't know what it is. Energetically, it's tiring to read Lilith. Yeah. It is sort of... You know, there you go. She exalts in Scorpio. I want to say it's almost like someone who can see right through you and can pull out your intestines in your heart and hold it in her hand. And it almost feels like that. Okay. What is she going to talk about with y'all? What do you want to talk about with these Scorpios, Lilith? Goddess. So you have the first card you got is Goddess. We're looking at the light and the dark side, of course, because it's Lilith. The light attribute of this is the feminine expressed through wisdom, nature, life force, and sensuality. The shadow, exploration of the female nature and form. Oh, exploitation of the female nature and form. That is a very, though that light and dark is a very teeter-tottery. The balance there is very minimal. Like how, because all those things I talked about, like being very deeply sensual and erotic and very touchy feeling, and even like this deep sense of obsessiveness of feeling and feeling about those that are close to you, when this is expressed in a really healthy way, like being consciously aware, all right, I need to get a dog for this outlet. But in true partnership, in true healthy relationship, it is the feminine expressed in the most beautiful way. That, okay, your next card that came out is Healer. I think it could be incredibly healing. And two, if you like to touch, maybe you are like a healer through touch as well. Like maybe just energetically, you can heal through touch. You can heal with this energy, or you can destroy. Sex and death with this. You can destroy or you can heal. Because the shadow is the exploitation of the female nature and form. So in that song too with Dolly Parton of Jolene, that is exploitation, because it would be exploiting someone else's situation as well. By I can just take whoever I want. If they're drawn to me, that's fine, I'll take them. But you're still exploiting someone else's position. Just because you have this astrological placement doesn't mean that it's like sort of like a God-given right to do that. And it also exploits yourself. Like, what value do you see in yourself that to steal things from others, or even to over-exploit yourself? Because if you are just using your seductive qualities to get attention, what is the attention that you wish to receive from that? And as long as you're aware of what attention it is you wish to receive and you're good to get it, then I think there's nothing wrong with that. But exploitation of the female nature and form, because there is a sense of the female nature being very healing and very nurturing. Not to destroy, although sometimes people need a slap in the face to see what's going on. But that is like a whole different aspect of your astrological placement. This is more about your seductive qualities. And on some level, I feel like what she probably wants to talk about is, do you heal or destroy with that? So the light attribute of the healer is passion to serve others by repairing the body, mind, and spirit. Ability to help transform pain into healing. I do feel like you could probably take intimate sexual experiences and you could heal yourself deeply with that. You can heal others very deeply with that. Then the shadow is taking advantage of those who need help. Failing to care for oneself. See, that's just taking advantage of situations too. So one of the things myself, I don't know how to say, although if I'm talking to my tribe, hopefully I won't get ridiculed with this, but I've just found like so many married men. But you know what, there's something missing in their life, obviously. So, but taking advantage of that situation is not necessarily helping them look at what it is that they really need. And I also want to say, anyone who's coming here who's masculine and you find feminine throwing themselves at you, it's kind of the same thing. Like you could kind of like be a total Don Juan, and like take whatever you wanted and, you know, leave a path of destruction behind you. But so on some level, those people could actually also be asking for help, or just indicating that they're in a sense of needing help, a failing to care for oneself also, because when you neglect others, you neglect yourself. When you fail to see when others are in a state of unhappiness or unfulfillment, you may also fail to recognize that in yourself. I really feel the most important thing about this is utilizing these seductive qualities, these touchy-feely, to be a healer. Like really to be a healer here. So let's put that up there. What's at the bottom? Athlete. Dedication to transcending physical limits, including handicaps. Development of personal willpower and strength of spirit. Oh, that's really beautiful. That's very physical too. This is I would say a very physical sign. Even, I mean, it doesn't matter if you fit the typical, what would be considered physical. I mean, physical? If you're in the 3 dimension here with me, you probably are the typical physical of what is considered attractive. Like, I don't think it matters with this sign. It can be the stereotypical, it can be the non-stereotypical. Every culture has different desires and attractive attributes that they look for too. So it's your smoldering nature, but it does come through in the physical. So the shadow here is misuse of athletic ability for selfish ends. False sense of invulnerability and entitlement. See, that could really come through with using your physical attributes to get whatever you want. Because you probably could with this sign. There was another sign too. Was it Libra? Oh yeah. So this sign, I think this sign could probably get whatever they wanted through their seductive magnetic qualities. Where Libra, if you had Scorpio, if you had Lilith, oh my God, if you had Lilith. So what I'm learning is if you had Lilith and Scorpio in the 7th house, you could probably rule the world. That is a sign that really understands relationship balance. It was wow. Okay, so let's pull out some tarot cards here. Okay, there's some shit. The card is really, it's almost like become animated, like she's trying to jump out at me right now. It's weird. Okay, so I just feel like there's something that she wants me to say here. So I'm gonna, a card is coming out. I was gonna ask like to go with these, but I just feel like, I don't know, I just gotta keep this open. The Nine of Wands, the Page of Swords, the Six of Swords, the Three of Pentacles, and the Three of Swords. Ooh, look at that. Let me show you each card. So I'm trying to reduce reflection. Nine of Wands and Page of Swords. The Six of Swords. And then here we have the Three of Pentacles and the Three of Swords. Okay. So I do want to say that this sign is probably also, if not engaged in third-party situations, they're going to be like, it's probably something that's going to be around you, your energy. And I really get that here at the end with the Three of Pentacles into the Three of Swords. Give me a minute with this. There's a lot to come in. The Ace of Cups, the Eight of Wands, the Queen of Cups. This is a different Three of Swords, though. Maybe that's why I need to use this deck. This deck has two versions of the Ten of Swords, and it has two versions of the Three of Swords. This version is about, okay, the original, like sort of there's the card in this deck, it's like at the shape of a bird that's been cut out of the heart space, and it's flying away, and the pain in that, like something that was connected to your heart is flying away. Now look at this one. Look at all of the, I hope I'm not getting a glare on there. I hope you can see that. I'm going to try to change the angle. Maybe there are no glare, I don't know. But there's all this information kind of like coming out of this book. And then look at how it's flying out of his head. There's something going on here about things that you've been witness to, or even concepts that you've created that are not necessarily true. And I'm getting about third-party situations. So that's interesting. Because again, as a reader, I always have like my own moral standard, which I try as hard as I can to kind of put it off to the side and not let it come into the readings. But I'm still a human being. I'm still my own entity. So, oh my goodness. So I'm getting something here about third-party situations and releasing your concept on this. So too, I mean, this has come up in readings before as well. Was it in Leo? I think it was Lilith in Leo. Because it talked about consent, consent, consent. How, so, yeah, that's true too. So this is true. So there are situations where third party is completely, it is fine, but I want to say there's a sense of needing consent. And that came up in the Leo, Lilith and Leo, was consent. Because that sign, if I remember correctly, did struggle with only having one sexual partner, even once making a committed relationship with someone. But then it came up as consent. Like, it's not that there's anything bad within this of you. It's like how you deal with it. So, right, the Nine of Wands is a tired, worn out soldier here. And isn't that intriguing? Because he's resting on a sword, not a wand. He's holding up wands, but his arm is resting on a sword. Yeah, all the wands are behind him. This is a sword, so this is secondary. And the Page of Swords is holding up like an enlightenment, a new idea, a new concept, learning something. And oh, look at, she's come out of a maze. She's come out of a labyrinth, and there's a book there. Oh, this is interesting. I think Lilith just gave some of you permission to have 30 books. 30 party. That's a lot of people. That's probably an orgy. Third party. Yeah, 6 of Swords. I didn't see this coming. Like I said, because I have my own moral. I gotta pull like clarifiers out of this. I'm literally getting the message, guys, that there's some sort of a change, a shift in one's concept of what third party is. The most important thing with Lilith, right? And, well, see, this is a tricky thing with this sign, though. Because what did it say, right? Like, Lilith and Scorpio can have her lovers eating out of the palm of their hand. Oh, yeah, such a mess. I don't know. This is my own struggle in this reading. There was a guy I worked with like years and years ago. I don't know, like 25 years ago or something. From the minute he came to work with the same company that I was, he was always hitting on me. And I just like, ugh. He was never like obnoxious or, I mean, he was pretty respectful, but he was married with a kid. It's like, you know what? I was not married. I wasn't even seeing anyone at the time. And he used to drive me crazy. I think this went on for like a couple of years. And one day I finally called him on it. And I thought, I'm going to call him on it. Because he's gonna, like, that was it, right? Like, that would be it. And it wasn't. I was like, oh, shit. So then he kind of became a friend with benefits. So, but I realized he wanted to leave his wife and everything. And I was like, no, you don't get it. Like, just go away. This is never happening again. But that's why I'm myself so hesitant in this sign to give what I feel like Lilith is trying to talk to you about. I'm trying to get myself out of the way here, but it's so hard because based on my own experiences with this sign in this energy, that you can literally be Jolene in that song with Dolly Parton. I need to clarify. I need to clarify this, guys. What I was thinking. I was really young and stupid. I'm gonna call this guy out. He's not gonna come over and have sex. Gonna finally back down. Okay, the 3 of Swords, the 3 of Pentacles. Oh my God! And the 3 of Pentacles. It's on either side. Okay, Lilith. Let's start. I'm gonna start from the beginning, hon. The 9 of Wands. Oh my God, that is so far away. Okay. God, the Queen of Swords. The 9 of Wands. You have the Moon, the Page of Cups, the King of Wands, and the Queen of Swords. Oh, here, I'll show you. Gives me time to try to suck this in. The Moon, our fears, things that we don't always understand. The Page of Cups, innocent play. Because the King of Wands can be seen as, gosh, that's interesting. That hasn't come into my head in a long time. So in researching like all the different court cards in the tarot, one of the things that comes up with the King of Wands, and it's not very often, but it can be, and it's the only king out of all of them that can sit in this, is this king can have more than one partner. This king can have more than one, the King of Wands, out of all the kings, is the one that can be said to have more than one partner. But now the Queen of Swords is sitting here, and she's looking in the other direction. She's looking towards the Page of Swords, almost like to establish some sort of a new truth here. So let's see what that is. The Page of Swords. I do want to say too, like you, oh my God, the 3 of Wands. If we got any more 3s in this reading, to finish what I wanted to say. I think it's also important too, like that you don't ever put yourself in a position to be hurt or because this is a very feeling sign. This is a very like deep feeling sign. Because it's not also just about like not hurting other people with these seductive qualities, but also like not hurting yourself or not putting yourself in a position where you could be hurt or you could be compromised. But if you know exactly what you're looking, like if you're looking for friends with benefits, yeah, it was really easy. I'm finished with this. It's okay. You can go now. Like if you're in that, then make sure you're aware of the choices that you're making. Preacher. I'm having a lot of difficulty pushing myself out of the way for this reading. But that's the challenge here. Like I'm always learning and I'm always exploring, and Lilith is definitely challenging me, which is probably also why maybe I'm tired when I finish doing the readings with her, because she's pulling shit out that I may not even fully understand, and I have to get out of the way to read this to you. So with the Page of Swords, we have the Three of Wands, the Emperor, and the King of Cups. The King of Cups is Scorpio. It is Scorpio specifically. I know as readers will say, well, it's water, so it can be Scorpio, Pisces, or Cancer, but it is specifically Scorpio. When you look down at the planetary placement, it is Scorpio. It is the deep feelings, the deep emotions and feelings and psychic intuitions that are all there. It's all there, but it's not being shown or expressed. This is calling something in very big with the Three of Wands and the Emperor. So this is a very powerful energy. I kind of been getting the impression, okay, so look at this. This is interesting because I do need this to completely unfold. It's almost like when I read tarot, I'm reading portions of pages in a book. And eventually I need all the information, all the words, all the sentences, all the paragraphs to come together where they're supposed to sit, which is what is starting to happen for me here, to give you the whole idea of this chapter that we're in this tarot reading. So what I see now here with the Nine of Wands, because this to me doesn't seem like a really good offer. I'm just going to say it doesn't, and it's not. Because we have the Moon, so there's a lot of hidden things here. There's mystery. It's the Page of Cups. There's not anything really big here to be offered. And it's the King of Wands. So if we kind of talk about what we've been talking about, it is someone who's got their pen dipped in a few different containers around the place. So you're not going to get anything of deep meaning in that situation. And this is also where you come in being worn out. So I don't know if some of you have been dealing with a lot of that in your life, or it's sort of to recognize it. And then like the Queen of Swords, she's changing direction. So on some level, because she's sitting here and she's looking this way, she's not looking anywhere over here. She's looking over here. And to me, it's also a sense of cutting something out of your life, like being really clear for yourself and with others about where you're going, what you want, and what you expect. And then it takes us over here with the Page of Swords. So this, because she's falling, you're going from the Queen and falling into the Page, it's like reaching a level of maturity and focus and intellect and understanding about a situation. Reaching that at the top, the highest level that you could reach it at, and taking action against it. Turning your back, going the other way, whatever that is. And now developing some sort of new truth. So sort of starting a new cycle about truth here. I don't know. One of these things I always think about is if you had, this is such an interesting reading. Like, how do you know? I mean, how would you ever trust someone and say, no, I don't sleep with my wife anymore? Oh, okay. I mean, as a guy, I couldn't have cared less. So, but if you put some sort of emotional connection, and I'm only saying that because at the bottom you have the Ace of Cups with the Eight of Wands and the Queen of Cups is at the bottom. So let's just see where this goes, because this is definitely a deeper understanding, a brand new truth. And here we go, the universe taking you by the hand and leading you somewhere with the Six of Swords, going in a new direction. What is the Six of Swords? You don't want to go. You got the Eight of Swords. I kind of feel like I'm in this reading. It's like, I don't know if I want to go there with this message with everybody, for everybody. The Eight of Swords, the Page of Pentacles, the Two of Swords, and the Hermit. Oh, there's that 8th house energy with the Hermit. This strong desire for privacy, an uncommon need for privacy, strong loner tendencies. But see, I can kind of see how that 8th house can even, that description can play out for people with Lilith and Scorpio here. Because of I don't know if any of you guys have experienced similar things that I have. I remember too. Oh my God, he was my manager. And I've gone through, someone, kind of like my first long-term relationship with a guy. And we lived together for a few years even. And then I broke up with him. It was just like, this is such a mess. He was such a mess. And so when it got around, I was like free. I was at a job site with my boss. And he said to me, how are you doing, Cindy? If there's anything you need, anything at all. Oh, I had someone else say that to me. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, if you are going through similar things as me, like, you don't have to look for this. You can just be showing up to work. Like, oh, okay. Like, you kind of get that, I don't know. I don't know. You kind of, I don't know. Because, you know, they often say too, like, this energy is so interesting to me because it's often described too, like if someone cheats to get you as a partner, well, chances are they're going to cheat on you at some point too. But Lilith is really asking me to get out of the way. And I'm sorry if I'm in the way in this reading, guys. I don't know why she picked me. I didn't really want to do this with her, but I was kind of forced. So anyways, the 8 of Swords, like not wanting to move, not wanting to look at this as a possibility. The Page of Pentacles, you know, we'll move forward slowly and carefully and take some cautious steps. But the 2 of Swords, I can't make a decision. And then the Hermit, I'm just going to go into myself. That's where I was trying to go with this. Is like after a while, it just feels like there's so much energy that comes towards you that has a bad intention or that doesn't feel healthy. It's just because it's almost like you're just this energetic magnet to whatever the hell comes towards you. And it could be shit. It could be good. But at this point, you don't know. So then you get this Hermit energy. But I do feel like the universe is trying to lead you to better stuff. Oh. So the 3 of Pentacles. The 3 of Pentacles. The 8 of Cups and Temperance. Walk away emotionally from, okay, now before, wow, how did I do that? I just flung these cards off the top of the deck. Oh. 6 of Pentacles and the 3 of Cups. So take it, if we get any more 3s in this. The 3 of Pentacles, look, if you look at the artwork in there, I hope you can see it. I've turned my phone around so I don't see the screen anymore and I'm really focused on the reading. See these 2 hands sort of like grabbing at a rope and trying to pull themselves up from somewhere. Working together to pull themselves up from somewhere with this 3 of Pentacles. But I want to say they've got tattooed sort of or drawn on their hands are the Pentacle. And it's in the upright position. So it does mean as above, so be it below. As within, so without. So it is working on some level here with spirit, with the universe, in high vibration. Maybe part of this reading is like getting out of your own emotions. Maybe, I don't know. I feel like it's more my head is what is in the way of this reading. I'm just going to say it. I'm not going to lie and say that I don't feel like I'm in the way of this reading. I really feel like I do. Because they're concepts that I myself have difficulty transforming just through my entire life experience. And again, I'm not like saying it's just guys, because I'm sure guys that have this placement, I'm sure you've got women throwing themselves at you all the time. I don't even know why. Like, gosh, guys so hot. And you probably get to the point too where you're thinking, oh my gosh, like all these women, none of them can be trusted, or none of them. So there is, I don't know, maybe you're with me on this, having trouble getting through with this this message is for this. But with Temperance coming in, it is allow your emotions from the past to sort of become alchemized into something different. So maybe for some of you it is. It's more of an emotional concept that's in the way about partnership and seductiveness. Because this Three of Swords too, like I could look at this and say for myself how I resonate with this is all of the birds flying out of the mind, like everything that you've learned, everything that you've read, perhaps everything that you've experienced, allowing that to kind of like fly out of your head and create a new concept of collaboration. That's the way you want to describe it. This is okay. Let's just go. I'm so tired. The Ace of Cups, the Eight of Wands, and the Queen of Cups. This is the underlying, guys. This is like a whole new beginning in your emotions, moving forward into mutual love. Well, maybe that's it too. I don't know. So, we'll put them in the right order. The Ace of Cups, because this feels like something in the future, so I want to pull this out for you. The Ace of, no, I want a whole new deck. Okay, I'm going to do a whole new deck. We're ending with the Chariot at the bottom. Movement forward with that deck. I want a whole new teeny tiny deck. So that, because a lot has come out here, if it needs to come out again, I would like it to be available. Let me do one more. The Ace of Cups, the Eight of Pentacles, the Eight of Wands. Ow, it hurts my finger. You're hurting my finger. The Eight of Wands, you have the Wheel of Fortune, the Knight of Cups, and the Sun. Oh, you know what I'm getting with this too? Oh, I really like that we're pulling out the cards here for the underline. This feels so different than all of this over here. Is just like, I don't like the energy. It almost feels like the energy of things that I've had to deal with in life and work through and try to negotiate. But over here, it feels nicer. So the Queen of Cups. Wow, the King of Swords. And the Six of Wands. That's real interesting. Because over here, remember with this Nine of Wands, dealing with, I don't know, dealing with players, dealing with people that, how does this person not have any, I don't know. So the Moon, the Page of Cups, the King of Wands, and then the Queen of Swords. Like cutting that out. That's enough of this shit. That's enough of these people, these concepts. But over here with the Queen of Cups, this is like mutual love, mutual appreciation, mutual feelings, perhaps even mutual experience is something that I want to state. Because for some of you, I mean, I've tried to make a point too of stating, you know, if you're masculine in here and you've experienced the same things that I'm talking about with feminine. I'm sorry if I've over amplified the feminine experience of this because I'm feminine. So that's just my perspective and being in the way of the reading again. But again, trying to be consciously aware and pull that back. But like finding people that have experienced, maybe finding people whose Lilith is in Scorpio and really getting each other and getting what it is that you deal with in partnership and people coming towards you. Because there could be jealousy in that too, right? Because you don't necessarily seek attention, but it does find you. I'm really getting here in the future. There's a brand new beginning for you, and it's completely on a big emotional level. It's very romantic. It feels like you have the Ace of Cups, the Knight of Cups, and the Queen of Cups. That's like a ton of romance. And then you have the Wheel of Fortune and the Sun. So it's like finding a change in circumstance and situation and finding your wish fulfillment, finding happiness, finding clarity, finding bright days, getting out of the moon with these little offers. And something that's worth putting the work in and something that you're going to have success in, who I feel like is an equal, who has, because this King of Swords is sitting over here, it feels like it closes off where we started over here with you being this one. That's enough of these things. I almost feel like this person having experienced similar things than you, So there's hope. There's hope for you, my Lilith and Scorpios. You have the Page of Pentacles and the Seven of Wands and Three. This is too much stuff in the tab. I'm so tired at this point. You have the Page of Wands at the bottom. So something new to do. So I'm going to go do the extended. I'm going to use completely different cards. I'm just opening up the message, like whatever's coming through over there. So if you want to see anything more that she's going to dig into, you can go over there with me and see what happens. Thank you so much, my Lilith and Scorpios in 8th house. Until next time, do be gentle with yourselves. Bye.